Welcome everyone to my Evelyn guide. Evelyn is the newest attack specialty character and the second playable member of the Stars of Lyra faction. In this guide, I'll go over her kit and explain what she does, then go over her playstyle, drive disc sets, main and substats, W engines, teams, and finally Mindscapes. And without further ado, Evelyn is an S-rank fire attack agent who specializes in dealing huge bursts of damage through her chain attack. Her core skill enhancement bonus will increase crit rate and base attack. Let's start with Evelyn's core skill. Whenever Evelyn enters Binding Seal, her crit rate will be increased by 25%, and if she exits Binding Seal, the buff will be retained for 10 seconds. Binding Seal is this string that connects Evelyn to a primary target. You can enter Binding Seal through Evelyn's 5th basic attack, dodge counter, normal special, assist, and chain or ultimate. Binding Seal will go away if the current enemy is defeated or you move too far away. It can also be ended by using either her special or X special, which both deal fire damage. As part of her core skill, when Evelyn switches to another character while in Binding Seal, she will automatically follow up with a special attack, not her X special as it doesn't require energy, which will also break the Binding Seal. You can also stop her special or X special from breaking the Binding Seal by using her basic attack during the special's animation. As mentioned before, the majority of Evelyn's damage comes from her chain attacks, which also include her ultimate. Evelyn's chain attack has the highest damage multiplier in comparison to other S-rank attack agents, and it can be further increased through her faction bonus. To activate Evelyn's faction bonus, you would need to have either a stun or a support agent in your squad. The faction bonus will increase chain attack and ultimate damage by 30%, and if Evelyn's crit rate is equal to or greater than 80%, the ultimate and chain attack damage multiplier will be increased by 125%. Reaching 80% crit rate wouldn't be very hard to do with Evelyn, as her core skill will increase crit rate by 25% at max level when Evelyn enters Binding Seal, and the effects can be maintained during battle, not to mention her core skill enhancement bonus, which increases crit rate. Thus, Evelyn would already be starting with 44.4% crit rate. Triggering chain attacks would allow Evelyn to deal the most damage. Evelyn can trigger chain attacks without stunning an enemy. When Evelyn deals damage to enemies through her skills, she will accumulate burning embers, which can be indicated by this gauge. When the burning embers is at 50% or higher, you can hold her basic or special to activate Evelyn's basic attack, Garrote. In short, this attack will deal fire damage and grant 1 burning tether point, which can be indicated through this part of the gauge. Once 3 burning tether points have been accumulated, holding Evelyn's basic or special will consume all burning tether points and launch her chain attack, dealing the same damage, although with less interruption resistance. Additionally, Evelyn's Garrote attack has 2 forms. The second form can be used if you already use the first form and still have enough burning embers. Evelyn's special and X special can grant an additional 25% burning embers if used while Evelyn is in a Binding Seal. And lastly, Evelyn's ultimate will deal massive fire damage, grant a burning tether point, and allow her to enter the Dance of Awakened fire state, which lasts for the whole battle. You can also tell whether Evelyn is in this state, since she will also take her jacket off. The Dance of Awakened fire state will allow Evelyn to retain a burning tether point when she uses them to launch a chain attack, which would allow you to trigger more chain attacks faster. As for Evelyn's skill level priority, you would first want to level up her core skill and chain attack, as her core skill increases how much bonus crit rate she gets, and her chain attacks deal most of her damage. Her basic attack and special will also be used frequently and contribute to some of her damage. Evelyn is a damage dealer who deals most of her damage through chain attacks. She can also trigger them on her own. By using her basic attacks and special, Evelyn can gain Burning Ember. Once Burning Ember is above 50%, You can hold her basic or special to launch an attack that grants a burning tether point. Once you have 3 of these points, holding her basic or special will launch a chain attack. This basic rotation may sound a bit complicated, but as I got to play her through multiple trials, I found it quite easy to pull off. As Evelyn deals a lot of damage through chain attacks, using a stunner would be quite beneficial, as is the case with other attack agents. Stunning an enemy would allow you to trigger a chain attack and also deal more damage while the enemy is stunned. Stunners like Qingyi, Lyra, or Lyra can also provide bonus buffs. Supports are naturally also valuable to have as they buff damage. A support agent like Astra can allow you to trigger a chain attack instead of a quick assist through her ultimate, which allows Evelyn to deal even more damage. She can also be played with A-rank supports, such as Nicole and Lucy, who both provide a lot of buffs. Supports or stunners also activate Evelyn's faction bonus, which increases ultimate and chain attack damage bonus and damage multiplier. Evelyn is also somewhat easy to build, as she gains a lot of crit rate from her core skill and enhancement bonus. However, a possible downside to her teams is the limited options for stun units. The problem isn't with the S-rank units, but more so with the alternatives to these S-rank units. Lyra, Qingyi, Lyra, and the pseudo-stunner Caesar are all S-rank agents, with Lyra being a standard unit. If you don't have any of these units, Evelyn's damage won't be as great. Anby is currently the only A-rank stunner, and while she can stun enemies quickly, she doesn't really provide the same buffs other stunners do. But of course, you could still use Anby as a stunner or go with 2 support agents, and while using a stunner is better for Evelyn, her damage will still be great without one. We're also getting more stunners in future patches, one of which is presumably an A rank. Overall, Evelyn is a very strong damage dealer. As a newer unit, she's naturally going to be strong and one of the strongest units in the game. If you already have a strong damage dealer like Miyabi, Evelyn wouldn't be outright better. But if you do need a strong damage dealer, be it for either fire-weak enemies or to form more teams for gameplay modes like Deadly Assault, Evelyn is going to be very strong. But we're also going to get more attack units in the future, such as Silver Soldier Anby, so you don't have to feel forced to pull for Evelyn just because she's strong, as we will be getting more units who might end up being even stronger. As usual though, you should pull for whoever you like. Moving on to drive disc sets, the 4-piece woodpecker set is going to be Evelyn's best overall. The 2-piece bonus increases crit rate, and the 4-piece bonus increases attack by 9% for 6 seconds when a basic attack, dodge counter, or X special hits an enemy. This effect can stack, and with Evelyn, you can consistently maintain 1 to 2 stacks. Hormone Punk and Puffer Electro are both decent alternatives and pretty close in damage. The 4-piece Hormone Punk will increase attack by 25% for 8 seconds when entering or switching into combat. However, there is a bit of downtime on this set, as the effect can only trigger once every 20 seconds. Puffer Electro will increase ultimate damage and increase attack after launching an ultimate. Evelyn's ultimate deals a lot of damage. However, this set doesn't do much else for her chain attacks. Inferno Metal isn't the best option for Evelyn. The 4-piece bonus will increase crit rate by 28% for 8 seconds when hitting an enemy affected by the fire attribute anomaly, Burning. The bonus crit rate makes building Evelyn slightly more challenging, as she already gets a lot of crit rate, and the bonus crit rate from this set can end up wasted. As for the bonus 2-piece drive disc set, you can run either the Branch and Blade Song or Woodpecker Electro for the bonus crit 2-piece Hormone Punk, or Astral Voice for the bonus 10% attack, Puffer Electro for the bonus pen, or Inferno Metal for the fire damage bonus. The difference between these sets is very marginal and would depend on what teams you're running, with Astra providing a lot of attack and damage buffs, and Lyra providing a fire damage bonus. A 2-piece Branch and Blade Song comes out slightly ahead, followed by a 2-piece Puffer Electro, Without attack and damage buffs, a 2-piece Inferno Metal can end up slightly better for the fire damage bonus. Generally, the difference is very marginal, and you should use the 2-piece set you have better substats on. Moving on to stats. For your main stats, you would want crit rate or crit damage on your 4th partition. With Evelyn, you would want to target at least 80% crit rate for the damage multiplier increase from her faction bonus. Reaching 80% crit rate wouldn't be very hard, as Evelyn already starts with 44% crit rate with her core skill at max level. Going for a crit rate 4th partition may not be necessary, especially if you have a crit rate W engine. For the 5th partition, you can run either fire damage bonus, attack, or pen ratio. The difference between these combos can be decided by your team. Generally, the difference is small enough that you can use whichever piece has the better substats. With attack buffs from characters like Astra and the damage bonus Lyra provides, pen ratio becomes slightly better, as you would already be saturated with damage bonus and attack. Without Lyra and just Astra, who provides both attack and a little bit of bonus damage, fire damage bonus becomes slightly better, and with a support like Nicole, who doesn't provide attack buffs, fire damage bonus becomes even better than pen ratio or attack. And lastly, for the 6th partition, attack is the best option. As for substats, it's more of the same. You would want crit rate, crit damage, attack, and pen. Moving on to W engines. Keep in mind that the difference between different W engines can change based on specific teams. This calculation here is in a team with Astra and Lyra, but without Lyra's damage buffs, W engines that provide damage bonuses will become slightly better. And without either Astra or Lyra, weapons that provide attack and damage bonuses become even better. Evelyn's signature W engine, Heartstring Nocturne, has a base attack of 713 and increases crit rate by 24%. As for its effect, crit damage will be increased by 50%, and when the equipping character enters combat or activates a chain attack or ultimate, both the equipping character's chain attack and ultimate will ignore 12.5% of the target's fire resistance for 30 seconds. This effect can stack twice. This is Evelyn's best in slot, but you can also use other S-rank W engines, and she even has viable A-rank options. Harumasa's W engine increases crit damage and can increase crit rate by up to 20%. Zhuyuan's W engine also increases crit damage and gives an unconditional 15% crit rate. The standard S-rank W engine, the Brimstone, is a decent option, and performs even better if you're not using attack buffers. Deep Sea Visitor, Ellen's W engine, is usable for all the crit rate it provides. Marcato Desire and Starlight engine are both decent A-rank options, both of which can be obtained for free. Marcato Desire is an event W engine that increases crit rate and attack when an X special or chain attack hits an enemy. Attack will be further increased if the enemy is inflicted with an attribute anomaly. Starlight engine is an A-rank W engine that can be obtained from the W engine shop. Starlight engine increases attack and can further increase attack when launching a dodge counter or quick assist. Since this W engine increases attack, it will perform better than other options, such as Marcato Desire, in a team without an attack buffer. The Battle Pass W engine, Cannon Rotor, can be used, but both Starlight engine and Marcato Desire perform better. Street Superstar is a W engine that increases ultimate damage, stacking each time a chain attack is launched. In teams where Evelyn isn't receiving lots of damage bonuses, this W engine will perform better. Overall, Evelyn has decent S rank and A rank options, some of which can be obtained for free. Moving on to teams, Evelyn as an attack agent benefits greatly from having stun units in your team. A stunner would also allow for more chain attacks. Alongside Evelyn, you can also use a support agent to further buff your damage. Playing Evelyn with either stun or support agents is also important for her faction bonus. There are other team comps you could also try, such as double stun or double support, and such comps could perform well. For your support agent, alongside Evelyn, Astra is the best option for this slot. Astra buffs attack, damage bonus, and crit damage. Astra's frequent quick assists between Evelyn and your stunner would allow you to set up Evelyn's burning embers and burning tether points while switching in with your stunner. Astra's ultimate can also allow you to trigger a chain attack instead of a quick assist, which is great for Evelyn's damage. Caesar, who isn't a support agent, can also be used for her consistent attack buff and shield. Caesar can also help stun enemies faster. You could also use Nicole for her defense shred. Nicole can also grant up to 15% crit rate through her M6. Lucy is another viable support, as she provides an attack buff and also a 10% crit damage buff through her M4. Since Lucy is also a fire attribute unit, she can help build up the fire attribute anomaly if that matters to Evelyn. Overall, all these support options are great. Astra is the best option, but the difference in damage between her and an A-rank option like Nicole is not large. As for stunners, Lyra is the best option. Lyra reduces enemies' ice and fire resistance by 15% and also extends enemies' stun duration by 3 seconds. His faction bonus, which can be activated by an attack agent, can increase ice and fire damage by up to 75%. On top of all these buffs, Lyra works pretty well in a quick swap team with Astra, as he can stack all his buffs and stun enemies without taking up on-field time. In terms of buffs she provides, Qingyi is pretty close to Lyra. However, unlike Lyra, she does need a bit more on-field time to stun enemies, but once you get around that, she is a pretty decent stunner. Caesar, who isn't a stunner, can provide a shield and a large attack buff. She can also stun enemies without taking up a lot of on-field time, unlike Qingyi. Coleda is a viable alternative, and her faction bonus, which requires a unit from the same faction or a fire unit, can buff chain attack damage by up to 70%. Evelyn already gets a lot of damage bonuses, especially chain attack damage, so the 70% chain attack damage bonus doesn't end up being better than Caesar's or Lyra's buffs. Aside from these stunners, you could also use Anbi just to stun enemies, but at that point, you could also run team comps without a stunner, such as a double support comp, with someone like Astra and Nicole or other supports. We're also getting new stunners in the next patch, so they could also end up being great with Evelyn. And finally, Mindscapes. Evelyn's M1 will grant her 1,500 decibels at the beginning of combat, allowing her to use her ultimate sooner and therefore retain more burning tether points, allowing her to trigger chain attacks more often. Evelyn will also ignore 12% of enemies' defense if they're bound by Binding Seal. If you use her Special or X Special, the effect can spread to all enemies hit by the skill for 10 seconds. Between getting her M1 or Signature W engine, Evelyn's Signature W engine provides a better damage increase. M2 will increase attack by 15% and will allow her to retain the burning embers consumed when holding her basic or special. This effect can trigger once every 25 seconds. M2 will also increase her interruption resistance when triggering her chain attack using burning tether points. Overall, a pretty strong M2, which allows her to trigger more chain attacks. M3 and M5 are both skill level increases. M4 will grant her a shield worth 10% of max HP when using her ultimate or chain attack, and while this shield exists, crit damage will be increased by 40%. And lastly, M6, which triggers after Evelyn launches a chain attack or ultimate and lasts for 20 seconds. During this time, when Evelyn attacks with a basic, dash attack, special, or X special attack, she will deal additional damage equal to 375% of attack. This effect can trigger up to 16 times during the 20 seconds. Overall, Evelyn's Mindscapes provide a decent increase to her damage, but none of them are entirely game-changing, and you don't need to get them. Evelyn is already strong enough at M0, and that's all from this guide. Thank you for making it till the end, and thank you for watching.